I made $12,000 today and $70,000 in the past week trading meme coins using the exact strategy that I'm gonna teach you in this YouTube video. The best part is that I do it live on Twitch every single day, so I literally have nothing to hide. I share all of my wallets and you can check for yourself exactly how much I make, when I make it, and what I make it on. If you're not already on Axiom, you absolutely need to be to trading meme coins. The link is axiom.trade/@prosper. It's also in the description, and I think you actually get like 10% off if you use my fees, but even if you don't, literally the #1 meme coin trader in the world, Cupsey, who made $23 million this year, uses it, so there's no excuse to use anything else. In this video, we're gonna focus a lot on strategy, so if you don't have the complete basics down, I'd recommend clicking right up here to check the exact guide on how to trade for complete beginners. Anyways, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for you to understand, so stick around, you'll still gain so much value, even if you have no idea what you're doing. So let's just start by trying to understand what makes a coin go up. I can answer you that in literally 2 seconds. It's called the coin's narrative. Now, the coin's narrative is 1 or 2 sentences that you can use to describe what the coin is. Ultimately, you're just trying to find the story behind the coin. What is it? Is it funny? Why is it going up? And the more you get good at understanding what a coin's narrative is very early, and narratives can change, obviously, or certain narratives can have certain catalysts that make them better narratives. That's when you'll start understanding how to make profit, because you'll be able to price in coins based on their narrative. So let's look at an easy one, for example, BSC, Big Solana Comeback. This has 1,200 holders. It's currently at 100K, $1.6 million in volume. It's a community coin, so it has about 235 members in the community, and it topped that 500K in market cap. So it's slow cooked all the way up to 500K, which is a pretty good coin. Now, let's just try and understand what this is. Well, the ticker is BSC, the name is Big Solana Comeback, and it's a picture of BSC with arrows pointed to Solana from Binance. This is where trading a lot and being locked in and understanding what's going on in the market comes in. Well, I know that this week we've seen a lot of volume on the competitor to Solana. It's called Binance Smart Chain, so BSC, and that's kind of where like Chinese people trade, but we saw a lot of volume on there all week, and Solana was kind of slow. And then all of a sudden today we saw a lot of volume come back to Solana, and narrative is that it's making fun of BSC, saying that it's a big Solana comeback and it's a community coin with a lot of people. That immediately gives us an idea of what the narrative is, and now we can use that narrative to set a price target in mind. Certain narratives can get better depending on certain things. So a narrative can be better if all of a sudden a certain person interacts with it, or a certain person buys it, or if it has a community behind it, for example. That is something that we're going to kind of go into later in the video. But for example, you can see that very early on at 30K, a pretty big KOL and profitable. I bought it pretty early, and so because he bought it, he probably shared it to his friends, and the narrative all of a sudden was a little bit better, because not only is this narrative, I guess, kind of funny and a lot of people resonated with it, but on top of that, a big KOL bought it, and so that kind of helped push the narrative further and push the coin further. Now, using a coin's narrative, we can set price targets on other coins. I'm going to use a different example for this. So like here, it's not like a crazy coin, but we can say it was a pretty good coin because it went to 500K. So maybe if someone makes an acronym like BNB and they'll say bigger and better while people are moving to BNB, maybe that coin would have gone up. And I bet that if I look up BNB, bigger and better, there are many coins that came, and yeah, you can see that some of them went up, some of them were communities, some of them got some volume, some of them didn't. That is kind of like a derivative of this coin. It's like a coin that's spawned based on this same narrative, but it's slightly different. And so we know that if this one went to 500K, that one can at least do a little something. So now that we understand what narratives are, let's try and price in some narratives by just understanding what catalysts could be that they could go up. Now let's look at what Cupsey just bought. He just bought a coin, Pump Fund CTO. It went all the way up to 24K. Obviously that's starting from 5K, and there's a lot of money to be made in this range. Don't get me wrong. Cupsey made $500 just off of this coin alone. The dev made 400. If we go to this coin, I can immediately tell you the narrative. Well, CTO stands for community takeover. Pump Fund is obviously the platform we trade on, and we can see that, oh, look, the image is that you've been blocked from Pump Fund. So if I were to guess, maybe the narrative was that Pump Fund was down. And if I go to the link, I see that Pump Fund works fine, so the narrative is dead. So let's say you find out that Pump Fund is down because, I don't know, BNB DDoSed their servers. Now that would be a crazy narrative. Everyone would be talking about it, and there would probably be a new coin that was created from this Pump Fund CTO coin, something relating to BNB, but nonetheless, that would be a big narrative because everyone would be thinking about it, talking about it. Everyone would see that their platform was DDoSed, hypothetically. So that's kind of the idea of like how to identify narratives. This is something that you'll get a lot better at by practicing longer and by learning how other good traders identify narratives. narratives. That's where you're gonna start to make a lot of money. So let's talk about metas. Things will change depending on certain updates, and something might be in meta. And so just like video games, meme coins have their own metas. So let's take a look at two types of metas. We have long-term metas and short-term metas. And so when we're looking at long-term metas, we're looking at metas that obviously stick around. Some examples of long-term metas that we have are AI meta, tweet play meta, and we'll say like community meta. Let's just like think of examples for these so I can kind of explain them to you really quickly. An AI coin is going to be something that's focused on technology. It tends to be a project and you want the dev in it. A tweet play meta is something that happens from a tweet. Usually it's news, or let's say Elon Musk gets a new dog, for example. That's a tweet play meta. So that's something that's going to go up really, really fast. And you don't want the dev in a tweet play meta. And a community meta is something that's built around a community. So a joke that slowly goes up, like BSC, for example, Big Solana Comeback, that would be a community coin. And so those are like three types of long-term coins. And these are long-term metas because they stick around. And something like AI has been around for months. Tweets have been around for months. Community coins have been around for months. And you have a bunch of different coins that fit into these. And sometimes certain metas kind of take over, especially in the shorter time frame, even though they're longer term metas. Now, a short-term meta usually gets spawned off of a coin that's inside of a long-term meta. And that's where it gets a little bit confusing. So let's look at this coin 8, for example, which was the runner of the day and went to over 10 million market cap, over 7,000 holders. This coin 8 is gonna spawn in a lot of other coins, and that's what we call short-term meta. Looking at the coin 8, we can actually see that we have more Jewish related coins because the narrative was obviously it's the Jewish number of wealth. And so we see 3 literally derivatives of this coin. This is the best example of a short-term meta. This big coin came out 8 and it went to millions in market cap. And because of that, many other coins came out like Mazal. I don't know what this says, but it's in Hebrew. This coin spawned in a short-term meta of Jewish related coins, while obviously the long-term metas all kind of stuck around. In this case, 8 was kind of a community coin. All of these Jewish coins that came out are communities because it's literally all in this community meta. It's like an umbrella. And now the same would happen if the A coin was AI project that went super high. Well, you would see a bunch of other AI coins. The whole idea is that you should be able to understand what meta we're in to know what to buy. So if you know that 8 is super high, well, you should be looking out for narratives that fall under 8. So derivative plays that are related to like the Jewish religion, for example. And you'll see them show up in new pairs or even on final stretch or even on migrated. You'll just see that more and more of that type of project of whatever is hot in the day and whatever is meta is going to appear, whether like you're even looking for it or not. It just happens. So something else that really has an impact on whether a coin is going to go up or not and kind of just is overall really important to strategy is something called wallet tracking and kind of like understanding wallets and other KOLs. What a KOL is just an influencer, and it tends to be a trader who's already made a lot of money trading. For example, I'm a KOL, and when a KOL buys a coin, that obviously causes it to go up because more eyes are brought to the coin. And you can kind of understand that by just looking at the principle of like what makes a coin go up. Well, you have a coin that came out, the narrative, someone assesses the narrative, or if it's like an AI coin. So for example, here Attention Off Trade is an AI coin. Someone assesses the technology, if it's good or bad. And those initial people that get into the coin either tend to be like insiders that are like friends of the creator, or just normal trenchers like you and me that are looking at these new pairs and saying, hey, this looks pretty good, let me buy it 8K. And so you have a few trenchers that buy this coin early. Amongst these few people, you might have KOL that buys a coin early. So like Cupsey comes in and buys this coin. And all of a sudden, now a lot of people are looking at the coin further because this wallet, Cupsey, who's a little like more tracked and well known, because of course you can see when people buy and sell coins. And if you want my personal wallet tracking list, you can go to my Discord. It's 100% free in the link in the bio, and I show you all of the wallets I track literally for free. You can look at this chart, for example, and we can see little emojis when people buy. And so because a certain KOL buys, it's going to get more eyes. And so all of a sudden the coin's going to go up in price because more people are coming in. And then all of a sudden, now you're seeing this kind of spider web of a bunch of different people in this coin, and it kind of already built up a little bit of a base. And so that's where you see this coin, for example, on the 5-second time frame is already at 16K. It went pretty high. Obviously, other people are going to see the coin. They're going to decide to buy. All of a sudden, maybe bigger KOLs decide to buy a coin or sell or whatever. And certain KOLs only buy coins at really high market caps and wait patiently to buy the coin. So they're not looking like me into low cap coins. And that's where I come in and say, again, your trading strategy is really important, and it could be different for anyone because KOLs like these, for example, so look at this person, is called Gake. It's a really well-known KOL. They buy the coin at 200K market cap. You can see that Gake came in and bought the coin, and you can see how high the coin went and how much volume that attracted just because Geek bought. And since they're not scalping or buying and selling very quickly, people can safely copy trade. So I just picked a random coin to kind of overview technical things I'm looking at, not really the soft skills of narratives. And this is still very important for strategy, but we're just gonna go over it very quickly in case you don't know. So right here is the dev percentage. This is how much supply the dev holds. Now this is gonna be sniper amount. You'd want this to be relatively low most of the time. It's just kind of bad, and it looks bad if a coin is like highly sniped. So most of the time, just keep this relatively low. On tech projects, you can kind of ignore it. It's not super important. This is dex paid. This is pretty important for a coin. It's pretty bullish once a coin reaches a certain level. So let's say a coin passes 30K and the dex is paid. That means that the links can be updated. So that tends to be pretty good, and you want the dex to be paid. Here you're looking at these links. So every coin has a Twitter link, a website link, and a pump fund link. On the pump fund link, if it's green, that means it's live. If a coin does go live, and if it is live, it tends to be pretty positive for the coin. If the coin stops going live, especially if it's a creator capital markets coin, that's very negative for the coin. If you're looking at the website and you want the website to be legit, not really fake or spammy or whatever, and then the Twitter link should be either like a pretty good account or an account that explains it, a thread, or even a community, that could be pretty bullish. For the picture, you want the picture to be sharp, not blurry, show what it's showing in the thing. And then most importantly, you're looking at name and ticker. Now, general guidelines, a ticker should be short, easy to remember, and then the name should be too, and just overall sum of what the coin is. Over time, you'll get good at identifying like what's good and what's bad. It's kind of hard to just like explain to you. It's more of a practice thing, but like, for example, when the CEO of United Healthcare passed away and Luigi Mangione went super viral, there were multiple coins that came out, like CEO Killer, United Killer, or whatever, and the one that won was just Luigi. Those are the three most important things: name, ticker, picture. So let's talk about different trading styles and strategies. Well, obviously on Axiom, we can see new pairs, final stretch, and migrated. Now, new pairs is going to be coins that just come out. Final stretch is going to be coins that are gaining a little bit of momentum but haven't bonded yet. And then migrated are coins that have just bonded. Now, I'm going to teach you guys the strategy that I personally use the most, which is new pairs. I think that it's the easiest way to grow a little bit of money into a lot, but it's also very dangerous in the sense of like, for people who do have a lot of money, if you aren't very quick or reactive, it's not the best thing to do. I recommend migrated and final stretch pairs if you're someone who likes to be a little bit more patient or kind of hold a coin for minutes and hours versus to seconds and minutes. And that's what we're doing on new pairs. We're literally holding in and out. We're getting into coins really quickly. We're trying to get coins out. All I do all day is literally just like look at every single coin. What is banana? It just looks like a random coin. No one's in it. The dev has created one coin 20 days ago. It's nothing. Next. Row 16Z is a fun but savage AI agent. It has 9 members, so it looks a little bit cabal-y. It's getting a lot of volume already. Let's look at the community. I can say, okay, October 3rd. Oh, it's old. This is actually fake volume and a fake coin. And in fact, I go back to the coin. Look at this. It's already at 0. And so that's what I'm doing literally all day. I'm just looking at coins, kind of trying to price them in. And the second that I find something that I like and think is interesting, and when I say something I like, I say something that's either related to the meta. So right now we're seeing a big Jewish meta because 8 coin that we looked at earlier that went to 9 mil is currently at 3 million, and that spawned a lot of derivative narratives. And so I'm looking for either Jewish funny related coins that I think have potential, or something that's completely different but interesting and new and fresh that can become the coin that is the coin that went to 10 mil. So like that Jewish coin, for example, didn't go to 10 mil out of nowhere. It was unique and it was a good beta to the 4 on BNB. So why am I buying coins so early? Now let's look at one of my trades here. For example, this is Lagon. It's a picture of LeBron, but like old, and then it has hashtag the second decision. It went up to 100K max market cap. I purchased literally at the entry at 9K, so super early, and I ended up making $4,300 on this trade in literally seconds. And so let's look at what this coin is. Well, the narrative is that it's an old picture of LeBron. It says Lagon. It's hashtag the second decision. If I go to community, well, you can see that actually LeBron tweeted a video on October 6th, 82 million views, so it was super viral, and he said the second decision. And so the speculation was that obviously LeBron was going to retire, so Lagon is the meme, and so I was able to buy very early. And the reason I'm buying so early is because look, let's say I buy in at 9K market cap, for example, I sell at 20K market cap. That's 100%. That means if I literally put in like $100, I'm making 200, like that. Now, let's say I buy at 9K, but it goes to 0. How much am I losing? I'm losing literally 15%. That's the max I can possibly lose, which obviously the risk to reward here is very very good. Now, let's say, on the other hand, you buy in here at 40K. Now, obviously, if the coin goes higher, 40K can still be a very good entry and very early, which is why it really depends on the narrative on how you price it in. However, if I buy in at 40K and it goes down to 0, well, I'm down 80% of my money. And if I buy in at 40K, you need to have the coin go all the way up to 80K just to double your money. So you can see there's a huge difference. And so that's kind of like trying to understand chart processes and what I personally do. I try and buy in very early and try and get those exponential gains. And even if I'm out or at the around 100K mark, I've already made my $4,000 and I'm pretty happy. So something that's very important and kind of difficult to understand is vamping. And so what vamping means is just one coin taking volume away and replacing a different coin because it's better. And that's like something that you'll see a lot of in this market. And I think that's the hardest thing to do when trading. But once you kind of understand how it works, you get the hang of it, you'll end up making a lot of money through vamps and understanding what is the right coin to buy. And let me just give you guys an example. This is one trade that I took that I made about $10,000 on in literally under a minute. What this narrative was that OpenAI was launching their new product and they showed a picture of a frog. They named it Froge and they said that's the new mascot. Obviously, while they're talking on live stream, people are watching this live and waiting for them to make something bullish that they can make a coin out of. In this case, a frog mascot from OpenAI is a great narrative. It's something that they can tweet about. It's a cute little like character, and obviously it's gonna go very high because it's named. And so they named this frog, and let's just look at how many coins come out at the same time. Just look at this new pair section real quick. Look at this. Froge, 22, Froge, Froge. They're all so many different coins and they're all different. And when I was looking at the stream, I saw this little icon that I knew was the right like Froge. And you can actually see there's another Froge right here that already graduated 42 minutes ago. This new icon comes out, I see it, and I see Froge OpenAI mascot, and you'll see I say, hey, this one's a little bit blurry. This is a good image, it's what I'm looking for, but it's not sharp, it's not defined, it's just blurry. So I wait for the right one to come out, and you can see this one already got 15K in volume, 5 people in it. But I knew to begin with that it was blurry and that wasn't the one that was gonna win. This one was less blurry, and watch. This one's not blurry. Immediately, look which one is getting, they're both getting volume, 21 people and 16 people. Now, both of them are competing because one is blurry and one isn't. So which one are people gonna pick? The better coin that's not blurry or the coin that is blurry? And you can actually see that in the meantime, and literally, we're talking 2 seconds right here, the other Froge went from 50K to 100K. So this is a vamp of like literally 2 coins at the same time. And this is obviously like all happening in seconds, and that's where the skill comes in. And that's where it's very difficult and why some people hate trading new pairs, because it's so complicated. This is literally like live trading, like super competitive, but that's because that's what it's come down to. And everyone makes this out to be easy. It's not easy, but once you figure out, you can make obviously generational wealth in seconds. And the better you are at that, and the more often you're right, the more money you'll make. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, check out all of my links at ethanprosper.com. I highly recommend joining the free Discord, and also just follow me on Twitter to find out when I go live. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.